that Ferrari deliberately erased Lewis Hamilton's driving instincts to rebuild him from scratch inside a secret simulator program in Maranello? They rewired his brain, forcing him to unlearn Mercedes habits after 12 years, and what Vasseur found in the data left the entire Ferrari team stunned. Hamilton has no podiums in 2025. His Vegas GP might be the last chance to save an 18-season record and silence the doubters once and for all. If you believe in redemption, precision, and what truly makes a champion great, subscribe now. Because what Hamilton just pulled off, no simulator could predict. Brazil was supposed to be Hamilton's fight back. A circuit where the rhythm suits him, the surface favors aggression, and the legacy runs deep. But instead of redemption, Sao Paulo gave him silence, a Ferrari shutdown, a mechanical retirement, and a long, lonely walk back to the garage. That failure didn't just cost him points. It reignited the same doubts that have followed him all season. Did Hamilton make the wrong move? Is the Ferrari project collapsing? And yet, behind closed doors in Maranello, something entirely different was happening, something no one expected. Rather than retreat into frustration, Hamilton asked for time in the simulator. Not just to test setups, but to reset himself completely. He told his engineers, "Treat me like a rookie. I want to unlearn everything that doesn't belong here." For a 7-time world champion to say that after 2 decades in the sport is unheard of. But that's who Hamilton is. He doesn't chase comfort. He chases evolution. And inside Ferrari's simulator bay, he began the process of tearing down 12 years of Mercedes' instinct to rebuild himself as a Ferrari driver from muscle memory to throttle feel. The simulator sessions weren't public. No press releases. No social media. Just Hamilton, Vasseur, and Ferrari's top engineers running silent loops through every inch of the Las Vegas GP. Long-run stints with cold tires. Brake maps tested in variable wind. Traction zones simulated with split differentials. And that's when it happened. As Vasseur watched the data overlay from Hamilton's laps, he realized something had changed. The inputs were smoother. The rotations matched the SF25's balance curve. And for the first time since winter testing, Lewis wasn't fighting the car, he was syncing with it. This wasn't about raw lap time. This was about technical harmony. Hamilton's feedback began matching the real-time data without delay. His corner entry phase, which had previously clashed with Ferrari's sensitive front end, was now adapted to give more stability. His exit throttle modulation, previously too sharp, was now blended to protect the tires over longer Vegas-style stints. The engineers weren't just impressed. They were stunned. Because Hamilton wasn't just fast, he was learning like a newcomer, but with the processing power of a legend. And it couldn't come at a more critical moment. Ferrari underperformed in Las Vegas in 2024. Their setup was too stiff, tire prep was poor, and both drivers struggled to adapt to the track's slippery surface and nighttime conditions. This year, everything depends on execution, and that starts in the sim. Hamilton knew it. That's why he locked himself into the simulator, while the media circled Brazil's DNF. While others questioned his legacy, he rewrote the next chapter in silence with data, telemetry, and total dedication. That's why Vasseur was so shaken. Not because of what went wrong in Brazil, but because of what might go right in Vegas. Because the Hamilton they're seeing now isn't looking for comfort. He's engineering a response. He doesn't need sympathy. He needs grip, trust, and a platform that can deliver what's already inside him. And as Vegas lights up, one thing is clear. The simulator didn't just prepare Hamilton for redemption. It may have unlocked the most dangerous version of him we've seen since 2020. When Lewis Hamilton joined Ferrari, many believed the biggest challenge would be adapting to Italian culture, Maranello politics, or media pressure. But what few saw coming was how quickly Ferrari began adapting to him. After 2 decades of operating in highly structured environments, first at McLaren, then at Mercedes, Hamilton brought with him a level of technical clarity Ferrari hadn't experienced in years. And slowly, piece by piece, the SF25 began shifting not in hardware alone, but in identity. This car no longer just reflects Ferrari's DNA. It reflects Hamilton's. The change began with braking. Ferrari's traditional chassis characteristics are designed around a sharp, reactive front, perfect for drivers who prefer late rotation, like Leclerc. But Hamilton's style relies on progressive entry, maximizing tire life and carrying momentum through the corner without unsettling the rear. After weeks of simulator work and live feedback across practice sessions, Ferrari began adjusting their brake migration curves, rear caliper timing, and pedal feel, all to create smoother transitions under deceleration. The result is a car that now invites commitment without risking instability. Next came traction zones. In 2024, the SF24 suffered under heavy traction loads, especially on street circuits like Las Vegas. But Hamilton pushed for softer throttle mapping, new torque delivery profiles, and a more linear power band in the mid-range. That's critical in Vegas, where low-speed exits out of tight chicanes define overtaking opportunities. Ferrari implemented changes to the MGUK response and fine-tuned differential locking during acceleration. The SF25 now delivers power with more control, exactly what Hamilton needs to exploit racing lines others can't hold over a long stint. One of the most underrated changes lies in aero balance under yaw. In Vegas, drivers face unpredictable lateral loads from street bumps to wind variability. Hamilton identified a recurring issue in high-speed transitions, where the car would briefly lose rear aero stability under corner entry roll. Ferrari responded by adjusting the floor edge vortex generation and tweaking the rear suspension kinematics. These may sound like microscopic changes, but at this level, 1% of balance can mean the difference between qualifying P4 or locking out the front row. Even the tire strategy has shifted toward Hamilton's vision. In 2024, Ferrari struggled with cold tire outlaps and often overpushed in early stints, sacrificing race longevity. Hamilton introduced Mercedes-style build-up sequences, not just warming the tires, but conditioning the brake and suspension temperatures simultaneously. That subtle choreography, built from years of title-winning experience, is now part of Ferrari's Vegas routine. It's not glamorous, but it's elite, and it's precisely what gives Hamilton an edge when the lights go out on a low-grip night circuit. The most telling sign of change? Ferrari's technical briefings now end with a simple question: what does Lewis think? That wasn't always the case. At the start of the season, Hamilton was one of two inputs. Now, he's the guiding principle, the compass. Not because of seniority, but because his vision for performance has proven consistent, measurable, and deeply compatible with the SF25's development curve. What Ferrari is bringing to Las Vegas isn't just a car shaped by data, it's a machine shaped by Lewis Hamilton's mind. And that changes everything. There's a reason Lewis Hamilton circled Las Vegas in red on his 2025 calendar, and it's not the neon lights. Beneath the spectacle, the Las Vegas GP is a driver's circuit disguised as a show track. It punishes poor balance, rewards patience, and exposes any hesitation under braking. And for Hamilton, whose driving style thrives on smooth inputs, controlled rotation, and reading tire evolution across a stint, this layout plays directly into his strengths. It is a street circuit, yes, but one where rhythm beats risk. And no one reads rhythm like Lewis. Start with braking. Vegas is filled with brutal stop-start sections, especially in Sector 1 and the end of the main straight. The driver who can brake later with more stability and modulate pedal pressure without unsettling the car gains crucial tenths in every lap. Hamilton's mastery of brake feel honed over years of data-driven tuning at Mercedes allows him to push deep without overloading the front axle. With the SF25 now tuned to offer him a more compliant entry, he's expected to extract more from each braking zone than almost anyone else on the grid. Then there's tire control. Vegas has one of the most complex surface conditions of the season: low grip, large temperature swings, and unpredictable traction due to night conditions and limited rubber buildup. While many younger drivers attack the lap early and burn the tires too soon, Hamilton plays the long game. His ability to bring tires into the window gradually, without shocking them on outlaps or restarts, allows him to preserve life deep into the stint. In a race expected to include multiple safety cars or virtual safety cars, that control may be the single most valuable asset. Overtaking in Vegas also favors Hamilton's strengths. Unlike Monaco or Singapore, Vegas does allow for clean passes, but only when setups are balanced and exit speeds are consistent. Hamilton doesn't rely on desperate lunges. He pressures drivers into mistakes, manages battery deployment with precision, and knows exactly when to strike. With Ferrari's new low-drag rear wing package and revised ERS tuning, he'll have the tools to convert strategic pace into actual race aircraft. His overtakes aren't highlight reel moments, they're executions. Clean, clinical, and morale breaking for those being passed. It's also worth noting that Hamilton is arguably the most experienced driver on the grid when it comes to adaptation under changing track evolution. Las Vegas is a moving target. Grip improves lap by lap, wind can change corner balance in real time, and brake temperatures fluctuate wildly in night conditions. Where other drivers see chaos, Hamilton sees patterns. His radio messages during these races are famous for their calmness and clarity. He doesn't just react. He processes, adjusts, and leads development during the race itself. That's why Vegas, unpredictable as it may be, becomes predictable in his hands. Finally, there's the mental aspect. Hamilton enters Las Vegas with 0 wins in 2025. 0 podiums, critics circling, Ferrari under pressure. But this is the type of weekend where he's most dangerous. A circuit that suits his mind, a car finally shaped around his preferences, and a narrative begging for a shift. If Hamilton delivers in Vegas, even just a podium, it will be seen not as a surprise, but as a statement. That even in transition, with pressure mounting, he remains one of the sharpest, most complete drivers in Formula One history.